Very interesting story out of the Hill, revealing that Republicans who talk so often, especially in the aftermath of mass shootings, about we need to invest in mental health and that's the real issue, and sometimes they'll bring up substance abuse, voted against a package that was set to do just that, to invest in those very things. Now, this is not all Republicans, but you'll hear some recognizable names that have used those talking points quite a bit. 20 House Republicans voted against a package on Wednesday that includes provisions aimed at addressing mental health and substance abuse. The legislation, dubbed the Restoring Hope for Mental Health and Well-Being Act, cleared the House in a 402 to 20 vote. 6 Republicans and 1 Democrat did not cast votes. The lawmakers who voted against it, and then let's go through these. Andy Biggs, Lauren Boebert, Mo Brooks, Ken Buck, Tim Burchett, Michael Cloud, Matt Gaetz, Louis Gohmert, Bob Good, Paul Gosar, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Michael Guest, Clay Higgins, Thomas Massey, Tom McClintock, Mary Miller, Ralph Norman, Chip Roy, Greg Steele, don't know that name, and Van Taylor. So we'll read a little bit more about it in a second here, but how often have you heard Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Mo Brooks, Andy Biggs, when mass shootings happen and people say, hey, maybe we should do a little bit more to make sure when there is admittedly a deranged individual who has mental health problems, maybe they have substance abuse, whatever it is, let's just make it a little harder for them to get their hands on a weapon that's literally designed to kill as many people as possible. That's the job of that weapon. Let's make it a little harder for people who want to do harm to do as much harm as they're able to with those weapons. And they'll say, whoa, let's talk about the real problem, mental health. Or they'll also say sometimes, this person smoked a joint 20 years ago, so the real problem is weed. And that's how they obfuscate, that's how they distract from what we could do today to pretty quickly quell some of the violence. Now, why do I say it like that? Investing in mental health, improving the mental state of Americans generally, would have a huge impact on the violence that we experience. But that's a long-term project. So let's get started. Let's do it. 100%. I support this package. But we have to understand it's a long-term process. Regulating guns, we could actually do pretty quick. Having the proper systems in place would just take political will, and then it would immediately start making change. And so we need to figure out how we address this on multiple fronts. Address the mental health, address the, living conditions on the ground that may increase violence, but then also make it to where when someone has been failed on those fronts, when someone hasn't yet gotten the mental health support they need, or they had a horrible living conditions, had terrible living conditions, they aren't able to get their hands on a weapon of war. Okay? Seems reasonable, right? But they just want to only talk about the mental health, only talk about whatever it is, as long as they don't touch their beautiful, wonderful weapons. But then, clearly they don't actually care about the mental health either. These 20 Republicans. The package seeks to set up a behavior health crisis, again reading from the Hill, coordinating office with the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration that would strengthen access to crisis care. Additionally, it reauthorizes grants for community mental health services supporting adults with mental health illnesses and children with emotional disturbances, and calls for more research into the effects smartphone and social media use have on adolescents when it comes to health and development. So there's much more here to be looked into, but the point is clear. Very interesting and correct action being taken by a lot of Republicans and then all the Democratic Party. But many of the largest names in politics who scream the loudest about this issue don't actually want to support the things that would address it in the ways they pretend to want to address it. So good job to the individuals who voted for this, because I do think it's a good move. But I hope, and why I wanted to do this segment is I hope that we start doing this. We start watching how do their actions as lawmakers line up with the rhetoric they spread. It's not enough to say, I'm going to do things that's going to help violence. I'm going to do good things and you're going to be happy with it. You have to show us what those good things were. And whenever you don't stay in line with what you've promised, or you don't do things in line with the words you've spoken, then we need to hold you accountable for that. and understand your hypocrisy and your dishonesty. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.